What's up, trainiacs? Welcome to this week's Triathlon News Day Tuesday. In this week's episode of Triathlon News Day Tuesday, a woman gets busted for cheating in a race. Bermuda announces how much money you can actually make off of holding an ITU race, and Ironman does something groundbreaking with their coverage of the female pro race in Lake Placid. What's up, triathletes? Welcome to this week's Triathlon News Day Tuesday, where every single Tuesday we talk about all of the goings-on around the triathlon world. Make sure you stick around to the end of the video, where, as always, we talk about everyone's favorite part of Triathlon News Day. That is a story from the trainiac community, and as always, full links to everything that I talk about will be in the description below. Let's start off with the Triathlon Olympics in Tokyo 2020. Just this past week, the International Olympic Committee announced the dates that the triathlon will be held in Obata Marine Park for Tokyo 2020 Games. The men's race is going to be held on July 27th. The women's race is going to be held on July 28th. Take a 3-day break, and the mixed relay will be happening on August 1st, 2020. So set your reminders right now for 1 hour before that race immediately. Now, I'll pause. Now, this is probably the biggest news to happen over the last week. MarathonInvestigation.com broke the news that a woman racing the San Diego International Triathlon got busted cheating because her Strava report just showed that she shorted the bike course, even though she announced grand victories and only finishing just a few minutes behind the winner in the pro men's field. Now, the interesting part about this isn't that this happened, it was her reaction, and I'm going to refer to it as her because I don't want to name her name and have her lose her mind on me, as she did just about everyone in the triathlon world. She was not calm about it. I will have a link in the description below if you want to see the full back and forth between this woman's reaction to it first getting announced, coming clean, kind of, then coming back and saying that she did the full race, and that it was all just very insane with a lot of choice words that would get this video blacklisted. So go check that out. Link is in the description below. Now, if you've ever wondered how much a large triathlon ends up netting back to the city that it's held in, the Bermuda Tourism Authority just released a report discussing the results of the Bermuda ITU race that was just held earlier this year, which Flora Duffy, the local, won. Apparently, there was a $4.4 million positive economic impact to having the race in Bermuda. It cost the government $2.9 million to fund the race actually happening, and an additional $500,000 that had to be kicked in from sponsors and event registrations. So the net profit is $1 million on a $3.4 million total cost. Not bad, 33% return roughly. I'd take that. As a former investment advisor, I would take that. Take it to the bank. And I'd blow it all on penny medical marijuana stocks. I don't know, something like that. The only major race on the circuit this past week was Lake Placid, the full Ironman, which was celebrating its 20th anniversary, and it was won in a wire-to-wire victory by Heather Jackson in 9:18:49. Not a very fast time, however, there was inclement weather on the day, a lot of rain on the bike course, and it caused the overall times to be a fair bit slower. What was interesting about this race is that this was the first race that Ironman had broadcast live through their Facebook channel that featured a women's only pro event. So in the week leading up to the race, all of the pro females were very excited that they were going to get all the coverage that, from what I've seen over the past few weeks, was very geared towards the men's race. So it's good to see Ironman making some efforts for the women in the sport. On the men's side, let's talk about that. The age group race of this Lake Placid 20th anniversary, and actually the overall title, fastest time in the race, was done by Ed Baker, who coincidentally we met earlier this year in Scottsdale while he was training with Matt Dixon's pro team, and he has just taken up triathlon this year as a former runner at Harvard. An amazing athlete, and as Matt Dixon says, he has the engine of a rhinoceros. A quick update on the Triathlon Taren podcast. Just this past weekend, we published the interview that we did with Gwen Jorgensen, her husband Pat Lemieux, and their son Stanley, who even chimed in a fair bit on the podcast. Now, the question that you're all wondering, I'm sure, is do we talk about the comments that I made about Gwen when Gwen announced that she would be retiring from triathlon and moving to marathon? We do, and you're going to have to listen to the podcast to hear about how it went. Now, let's get into everyone's favorite part of Triathlon News Day. That is a story from the trainiac community. Today's comes from Christian Dembowski, who says, I discovered triathlon in 2016. After being a competitive swimmer in high school, I spent my athletic energy on rock climbing and high-altitude mountaineering during my 20s and 30s. However, when kids came around, our merry band of mountaineers decided that it was time to tone down dangling from nylon cords several hundred meters above the ground. Immediately, I knew that triathlon would become my new athletic pursuit, and I was soaking up any bit of information I could find. After a couple of sprints, I did my first Olympic distances in 2017, and I talked to you face-to-face for an hour via Skype to help you kickstart your excellent training plans. They're getting more excellent with the training platform, Christian, but thank you. With my new triathlon Taren half Ironman training plan in my pocket, I signed for the Kraichau Ironman 70.3 in 2018 and got to work. 6 months later, I was psyched up and ready at the start line in Kraichau. The transformation was incredible. I lost over 20 kilograms. I guess in Canadian units, that could be referred to as roughly 1 peat. And finally, I managed to include sport in my busy life as a husband, father of 2, and worker in finance. In addition, I spent an ungodly amount of money on triathlon gear and a new set of clothes. I ended up finishing my first 70.3 in 5 hours, 23 minutes and 57 seconds, more than 20 minutes better than I had planned. Entering the run course just as Jan Frodeno ran down the finish line and seeing my family at that finish shoot will forever stay in my memory of that day. Little did I know that this fantastic day still had more in store for me. When the slots for the 70.3 World Championships were awarded, to my horror, things kept rolling down further and further. And seconds after some frantic texting to my wife, my name was called, and even 48 hours later, I don't fully understand what happened, but it involved a yes, I will be going to Port Elizabeth. It involved my credit card and loads of congratulations and photos. Taren, this trainiac, booked his ticket for South Africa, and he got it because of your and Coach Pat's training plan. Thank you so much for enabling me to finally bite off more than I can chew. I hope I'll see you in Port Elizabeth, and we can both celebrate our achievements watching wild elephants and dodging sharks in Port Elizabeth. You got it, Christian. Thank you so much for your update here, Christian. Fun story about this. About a year and a half ago, when I was wondering about, should I keep going with Triathlon Taren? What can it turn into? I booked, 20 one-on-one, 1-hour Skype calls with a bunch of people that had been watching the channel when I had something like 3,000 followers. And every single one of them, Christian included, said, we're loving the tips, they're invaluable, please do more. And a lot of that is what led to this becoming a daily thing and something that we're going to pursue for the rest of our life. So thank you so much for that motivation, Christian, and I could not be happier to dodge sharks and see wild elephants with you. If any of you want to get your story shared here on Triathlon Newsday, or really just have something you want to share with me, email me at Taren@triathlontaren.com. And if you're digging these Triathlon Newsday Tuesdays, where we talk about news every single Tuesday, hit that subscribe button below. And if you're already subscribed, I dig you. I just dig you. You know what I'm digging these days? This backwards hat. I got no affiliation with 51 Speed Shop besides I sent out a hat that finally fits my head. I got a small head. Later, trainiacs.